Good evening, everyone. Good evening, young and old. Good evening, man and woman. Good evening, everyone. People in Jamaica, in England, and all over the world who tune into our discussion, this week discussion. Man, since we last met, a lot has happened. A lot of things happening in the news. Uh, we see where a former MP is charged for murder in relation to his wife. We see uh, a march in Washington, D.C., people demanding ceasefire. We see a protest march, the Diaspora, Friday in Miami. And on top of that, since the start of the year, over 40 Jamaicans were murdered. Oh, is Jamaica a place for real? A lot of people keep asking that. I am not sure. All I know is that the condition under which Jamaican people survive is rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's like the man with the gun and who's friend with the gunman and the money man. They having oh man, they having a wonderful time while the poor suffer. This week we're going to explore some of those issues, very same issues. We're going to talk about, we're going to hear from Brother Janan, who is with us today, about the march in Washington, D.C. We're going to also hear from Brother Patrick with his take on the protest march in Miami this Friday by Brother Rattigan, who's not here with us today. And of course, we're also going to hear from Brother Lass. Four of us this Sunday, my friends. Four of us, Rattigan and Maxine, they are in Miami. Hopefully, we'll get some report from them about the protest march. Brother Patrick, you, well, I don't, you, what, attended or what? But you
No,
watch the,
no, I
you
only,
watch the demonstration, the protests, and what have you. Why don't you just give us your take on this protest march? Because
it wasn't a protest march, it was just a protest, really.
a protest. All right, so thanks for that correction. Yeah, you've
yeah.
been for some time now, Patrick. You've been crying out for action, action, action. We can't just be talking action, action, and here it is. Rattigan and his associates, they organize something. What is your take? How was it? What's your take on it?
My take on
Y-
it
y-
is
y-
that,
yeah.
yeah, my take on it is that it was it was it was a very good attempt at really highlighting the issues and really showing that taking to the streets and protesting is something we can actually bring into our whole um, portfolio of operation, because I think that the coverage was good. On YouTube, I watched it on YouTube. Actually, I was not there personally, but based on the response I saw on YouTube and the event itself, right? I think it was good. It was a good showing. Of course, it can always be a much more resounding showing in terms of numbers. right? So it was not big numbers, but I was not focused on the numbers as I was on the content of the protest. And I think Captain Francis spoke to it very well. They had a number of people in the in the um in the crowd who are familiar faces from Jamaica too, because I think there was um John Gordon Webley, who is actually a former MP, right? We might be aware of,
Yeah, man.
right? She spoke and all of that, and that was well received as well. And a number of people in the crowd actually were interviewed. So it wasn't just a matter of speakers speaking, but there were actually people around, right, who participated and showed their support, right? And of course, we all know what the issue was, right? Primarily, right? It was around that letter, right, from Captain Francis, which really generated a firestorm, right? And the whole idea of a protest was built around that. So they had good placards showing what it was about. We never get a good enough cross section of that, coming across on the media, right? Which is where they can improve on that the next time. Show us more of the placards, what the placards are saying and all that. But overall, the speakers handle themselves very well. Of course, Rattigan spoke, and of course moved among the crowd and was being questioned and so on. And there was excellent response. I think it was a good attempt at really showing that there is support for what we are doing out there, right? And people are willing to really step up now and show that we want to see a better Jamaica, right? And we in the diaspora are serious about that, right? We want to have a strong diaspora, and with that too, right? Of course, Rattigan kept mentioning that there will be other protests in other cities, right? And across the world, because he mentioned that there will be one in New York, there will be one in DC, there will be one
Toronto.
in Toronto, and there will also be one in London, right? So as far as I'm concerned, this thing look like it's likely to go from strength to strength, right? Which is definitely positive. So all in all, right, I give it a definite 2 thumbs up, right? At both for attempt and for the quality of what was put out.
John, last.
Yeah, I'm reading a report on the protests, which was put out by Captain Francis, right? And it's saying that there were like 70 placard-bearing demonstrators who were present, right? And it not only the people present at the actual event, but there were like 3,000 people online, right, who were covering the event. I think to have anywhere from 50 to 70 people present at an event like that is a big positive. The whole aim of the event is to highlight, as Patrick said, I think he chose the correct word, is to highlight, what is taking place in the country, to the broader audience of Jamaicans across the world. So it doesn't need 3,000 and 5,000 or even 500 people to be present at these gatherings to be successful. It only needs a committed group of people who are willing to come out and highlight and make this, whatever is happening in Jamaica, aware to the other thousands and millions of Jamaicans across the globe. And I think that was achieved. I think, probably what needs to be done now is to make this thing more in the news, because like even I was searching for a report on this event in the news over the weekend, and I realized that there has not been much coverage by a lot of the news media. So I hope the guys there had video and photo coverage of the event, so that in promoting the upcoming demonstrations, this can be used as a form of promotion for the other events.
John?
Yes. First of all, I went to the protest in Washington, D.C., and I came back late on Tuesday. I think on Wednesday or Thursday, Herbie sent me a couple messages, and I believe that Rattigan may have sent something. I got something from Rattigan. In fact, more than one thing. One was an announcement about the interview with Fat Man. Is Fat Man his name? In the from Waterhouse. But in regard to the protests, I only am aware of the turnout based on a friend in Jamaica who saw it on YouTube and who sent that video to me. So my own feeling was that if we had more than 50 people, I would personally agree it was correct and successful. Even if the content was out there. But you guys have identified a couple areas that we could improve on in terms of protesting. One is to try and line up someone in the group who can take YouTube. I couldn't go to this because I was really exhausted. To go, drive down to Miami and drive back up. It's a 6-hour drive. But based on what I saw, I would be corrected. It depends on the time that the video was taken. But what I was told by Herbie is that the request for permission was for 50 or less. So if we got more than 50, I feel that's an acceptable target in the circumstances. I also think that in future we could not the press that would be there would be the local press, meaning Miami Herald and so on, and maybe someone from the I don't know what you call it, the service, the embassy service might be there for media, but obviously they did interviews based on what you guys are saying. I'm not sure if we can identify a source that people can go to and see it, including me. So, that's my comment. I'm a little tentative over it. If based on the turnout and whether it's the appropriate form to bring pressure on the government.
Jinka,
Let,
man.
let me just add one piece of Mike. To John's point. I think you can access. You should be able to access it on the Make We Talk channel because
It
that's
name what? Make we talk.
yeah, that's Jeffrey's channel because that was the media that actually covered the video and the audio of the event,
Okay.
right? Um, and just to further there was another point I wanted to make as far.
When you say Make We Talk channel, is that if I go to YouTube and put Make We Talk,
Yeah. If you put
that
Make We
will come
Talk,
up?
you should have something come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The other thing is that I don't know how much media coverage they try to spread, but one of the things that we fall short on a lot of times is that we don't do news releases, and we gotta do news releases of our event and send it out to the media for
Good
them to
point.
cover it. Right? You notify them before the event, but you can also do news release.
Send out
Right?
something for
Yeah.
the of the event. Yes.
Right. Because that's news, right, to be broadcasted. So that's something, but that is the onus is on would be on us to do that. Right. So I don't know if that is something that a practice that they get into, but that is certainly something that we can do in addition to just having it on YouTube, you know. And also, you know, we are really underutilizing the media, even social media right now, because these are things that social media is more than just YouTube. It is YouTube. It is also
TikTok. So
TikTok and you know Facebook and all of that stuff,
Facebook.
right? And what's the other one? X, or what they call it,
Yeah,
right? So
Twitter.
yeah, Twitter. So it's about our utilization of these things as well, because we want to put it out there as much as possible, because the more it's put out there, people will know about it. The other main factor I think that was the shortcoming on Friday is that the time of the event, right? For that time of the morning on a Friday morning, it's not an easy thing to generate any large gathering,
Correct.
right? Because it was a morning event and it was a Friday morning at that. Right. So when we take these factors into account, all of these is good measure of the success that still show up, right? Because you know, that's not an easy time. I know I couldn't get down there because just traveling to go down there and come up alone would be 2 days, and that's just the traveling, right? Not to mention, you know, being there, right? So that would mean giving up quite a bit of time to be there, and I just couldn't do that. So that's my take on it.
As a government response, though, I've noticed that they have Terry Long doing the rounds with the media in the area. Was moving from station to station within the Miami area, you know, trying to counter whatever effects of the not just the Miami protests, but all the protests, you know, trying to make it seem as, you know, the government is doing so much for the diaspora, you know, and the diaspora should be focused on investing in Jamaica and making use of opportunities that the government has created, all kind of stuff like that. So they have been trying to counter the effects of not just the demonstration that has taken place, but the effects of the other demonstrations. But all in all, I think it's a good thing, you know, because even if 1,000 or 100 people didn't turn out, it is it highlights the fact that the thing happens. It highlights some of the situations and bring awareness to other people who probably weren't aware of some of the things that are happening. So, I mean, I think we just need to put some more effort and some more organizing are behind the protests. You know, like, I don't know the mechanism they are using right now, right, in terms of getting people out, but we should be looking at everybody that we know in a particular area that the demonstration is taking place, any links we have, whatever, you know, and try to make some contact to bring out as much people as as is possible.
Gentlemen, Chairman Mao said the longest march starts with the first step,
Exactly.
you know, and I want to big up Rattigan and the team. I want to big them up, big, because the little action on their part caused the newspaper in Jamaica, the Gleaner carrot, RGR carrot, you know, you have coverage and all comment on it, and that is good.
And we
That
have to
is
remember
good.
that it comes from one letter. One letter
Yeah,
from Captain Francis.
yeah, and that is good. That is good,
Yeah.
and a good message to send to oldness and those characters. You know that right now there's a force overseas who are willing to stand up. You know, we are not those who throw stone behind we. You know, we not abandon Jamaica. We're gonna stand up and fight with the Jamaican people. You know,
And we
regardless of how difficult it might, you know, that journey might be. We not gonna give up. We not turn back on the Jamaican people. And
will be a force to reckon with.
yes, they must understand that. They
Mm.
must understand that. It's not just about us sending back money to Jamaica. No, them can't pigeonhole us and put up na that. We need that. We are people of free will. You understand? And that message, I think only those guys get the message. You know, when they look and see who involved, they're going to say, why communists, criminal, gangster, what have you, they're going to say all sorts of stuff. You understand? They have
Nothing,
this guy.
nothing new. Nothing
Nothing
new.
new. They have this guy now traveling all around Miami and I try his stuff out thing. But listen, Rattigan, I think the time we get to that point where someone like Rattigan will rise up. Will rise up. And it's not just one Rattigan. We need many more Rattigans to take on these criminals in government. So I say big up to Rattigan, big up to all the people who were able to make that demonstration, you know, that
And
protest.
I think what we
Big
need
up to
to
all of them.
emphasize, Mikey, is that it's not just while they might be focusing on the 50 or the 70 people who turn out. Remember, there's an army of thousands of other people who tune in to the thing and following the thing, right? Those are
Exactly.
potential people when it comes later on to take to the streets if them need to be. You
Exactly.
understand? That's an army where we are going to be able to draw on because it will show that these people have an interest
No
in
more
what
free
is
ride. No more free ride for them. No more
in
free
what
ride
is
for them.
happening. So if anybody think that they're going to be watching and saying it's 50 people, it's 30 people, that is just the tip of the iceberg,
No
right?
more. No more
There's
And
an
free.
it wasn't a long planning either.
exactly.
Brethren,
You
no
know.
more free ride for them. For every time them travel and come up, there should be someone standing up with a protest, a banner, a placard, making, shaming them.
Of course.
Shaming them because, mark you, these guys inherit an island that is considered a jewel of the Caribbean. And what have they done? We get a man who was a minister of education for a couple of years ago, and in less than 10 years, this man talk about 100 millions of dollars in him control. Him wife around like, come on, man. These guys need to get the message. Let me forget the message that listen.
Don't forget them was calling for salary increase in the midst of all of that too.
You get me?
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
all of that, isn't it?
Didn't they get the salary increase? Wasn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
They gave them
Yeah. In the midst of all of that, there's still a fight for a salary increase.
Yeah.
They got the salary increase.
They got it. And these guys, they say this and say that, but the bottom line, they are benefiting from the misery of the Jamaican people. And on top of that, they turn around and rob the Jamaican people, left, right, and center. So what I say, we must see them things and turn a blind eye. What they want us to do? To turn a blind eye to the suffering of the Jamaican people.
Mm.
As we speak,
Crazy,
Mikey,
man.
there's another issue. There's another issue coming out of the National Housing Trust. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, where they had some time ago, they gave some company $600 million to build some houses for the National Housing Trust. Those houses were not built. And I think this week it is saying that they had some agreement. They reached some agreement with the company that was supposed to build these houses. Right? But the details of that agreement that is reached have not been made public. So it's like everybody is wondering, what is happening here? I mean, did they make deals that caused the housing trust to lose that money, or did they make some deal that would cause less houses than the 200 that was projected to be built? Nobody knows. So that's another issue that is brewing in the National Housing Trust with the government.
Brother, I'm tell you this, man. Them brethren, the oldness and all of them are thief. Them just a rip, rob, left, right, and center, and all of them. You understand me? And all them I use. Them I use the pen. I use the pen for robbing people left, right, and center.
The what?
The pen.
Pen?
Use them pen, the pen. You know?
That's nothing new, though. That's nothing new. My father always said the pen is mightier than the sword. And that's precisely because this is how the system is structured. The system is structured on the basis of a pen. Right?
Brethren.
It's the same way them can write what them call a constitution, which have nothing to do with the people of Jamaica except to rule them and rob them. That's what the constitution is all about. To control them. That's it.
Divide and rule, divide and conquer.
Right?
That's exactly what them want.
It has no benefit. It speaks to no benefit for the Jamaican people.
In all of this, you see, one thing should stand out to these guys. There's no a Will Rattigan on the block. There's no a Will Rattigan on the block, and he's not scared of standing up and hauling them before the courts. Because you see that act that he speak to, the McKinsey Act. You see that act?
Yes. Yes.
We all should read up on it. You know, because a lot of these guys are looking at possible sanction by the US government. I'm telling you, man, this act that he touched on is something that should not be taken lightly. You understand?
But let me put something to you as well, Mikey, where you just mentioned, right? I don't want you just gloss over it and leave it, because you mentioned a key thing just a moment ago, right, with Rattigan, and he mentioned it on Friday, right? During the event. He has received death threats. And he has pointed out that he will not be deterred by these threats, right? And let me just add to it that fear is paralyzing. Fear is something that will paralyze you. Fear will paralyze you not to take a step, not to make a move, not to take action, right? And the only way to bring change is to take action, right? Now,
Well,
the reason why they'll make threats is because they themselves, to begin with, is fearful. So we're not
but
going to join them in the fear, right? We won't be intimidated by no threats,
brethren, the man that just crook, my brethren. Just crook.
you know?
Crook. And right now, we need more demonstration. We need more demonstration. We need more protest, more action. And I'm open. I'm waiting to see the others, you know. We need more people. Yes, don't forget, these people are just doing, these are not seasoned organizers doing stuff. They're just out of passion and this, you know, they ground clan, what have you, and then decide to act, which I welcome that. And I hope more Jamaicans will get involved in that, you know, and come on board. Don't stand to the side and point your finger at the brethren and the others, you know. Come on board and see how we can do something positive for Jamaica.
And across the diaspora, they will see they will not get the chance to control the diaspora as they are seeking to do. Because that's another thing that was brought up again, right? At the event, right? The move by the Jamaican government to control the diaspora, right? We
That's a bit. That's a bit.
we're putting people who live in Jamaica, right, for be in the administration of the diaspora's work. That can't work. That's not the diaspora we are a part of.
I don't think. I think them know say that not gonna work. I really think so. Them know so that not gonna work because rebels like we now bow to them thing. You know, we are come out as some warrior spirit where predate these guys. Wholeness and all of them people. Yeah. Our spirit are come from way back, way back. So I think it's just paper. Nothing practical is not gonna come. Not just a talk, you know. Because how can them stay in Jamaica and control we? How them do that?
Them couldn't do it.
And when we
couldn't
are
do it
Jamaica,
on- Them couldn't do it on their Jamaica.
You understand? I know we are Jamaica. They want to control you.
And probably I'll try with the pen. but
Try
that
with the
can't
pen. But that now work because most of we are American citizens now. You understand me? So we have a greater freedom and can move and travel. You know. But listen, man, more Jamaica need to get involved. You understand me? On that note, Jamaica. Yes, so on that note, Jamaica, you see, you John, you went to Washington D.C. You went to Washington D.C. What you want to share that experience there with us? What was it like the demonstration? I heard it was what 800,000 people turned out asking for ceasefire.
Yeah, I went to, there was January 13th, it was declared a day of solidarity with the people of Gaza. So I went there. There were big marches in Washington, in London, and I believe there was a big march in Norway as well. I'm aware there may have been other big marches, but the ones I'm sure about were those. The one in DC took place on Saturday afternoon, and they had not as many as 800,000, but probably about 500,000
Okay.
people present. at Freedom Square or Freedom Plaza. And the march, there were speeches there, including members of the Black Caucus. I don't really know them
Freedom Caucus.
per se.
Yeah.
No, not Freedom. No. African American Caucus.
African American. If you look at, there were some speeches put on TikTok. You could see the faces and so on. But the bottom line is that the turnout was very well represented. I mean, a good turnout. People came from all over the country, including me. And there were people there came from Florida by bus, from Chicago, from California. I met a lady who came from Oakland. At the following day, I went to the African American Museum, Historical Museum, and there were people there from the march wearing their scarf. And so the march left the Freedom Plaza and walked, I would say, about 2 miles to the
White
what you
House.
call it? The White House, yeah. And by then it was really blocked up. I mean, I left there just about that time because it couldn't go any further. The amount of people in a smaller area than when the march started. So the turnout, the pictures I took and the TikTok that I saved, I can send the TikTok to you because it's a very good aerial view of the march. Again, the purpose of going is to tell the American government that siding with Israel in the face of genocide, in the face of ethnic cleansing, is that the government should put pressure, which they are now beginning to do, too little, too late, to get Israeli government to halt the war and to recognize Palestine to recognize the principle of two-state solution. So that is really as much as, as I would report. The only thing unfavorable was the weather. Went down to about 39 degrees. That for me is beyond comfort, but that's a small price to pay, considering the price that the people of Palestine are paying.
But let me ask you this, John. The demand for two-state. See, I've been hearing that demand for a long time. You see? Now, I'm not sure you realize that in the two-state sort of structure they're proposing for the Palestinian people, they are saying that the Palestinians should not have an army. They should not have an army. They should have no access to military, training or what have you.
Who is they? The bottom line is
the American government. The American government. What they are suggesting.
Yeah, the bottom line is that the Americans, even now, despite publicly saying that they would like to reopen talks for a two-state solution, the fact is that the Israeli government openly, up to this week, declared that they do not support, and they are the ones who throw that idea long ago.
Yeah, but that is old news now, you know. That
I
what you
know.
yeah, what you're saying is old news. I'm saying to you, in the current situation, the US is proposing a two-state and the EU a two-state. And within that configuration of states, Israel and Palestine, the Palestinian people will not have their own army.
Yeah, but Mikey,
Then what type of state could that be?
no, obviously that's that. Which Palestinian is going to accept that?
John,
There's a lot to be understood about the Palestinian situation, you know, because here's the thing about it. The first, I guess you can call it the first major event you can reference when we talk about the two states solution, right? Is that meeting between Arafat and Clinton?
Camp David.
Yes, the Camp David summit, right? When Arafat rejected the two-state solution. One of the things about the two-state solution is this, right? It is a tactic which, for the most part, is a tactic of the imperialists, right? It's where they lay out the ground plan as to what that two-state solution would be, right? Like you said, Mike, in terms of things like their own defense and all of that stuff, right? Is issues which will be brought to the table, right? Where for the most part is trying to lay out a solution to the Palestinians, which they basically have the option to either accept or forget, right? And the thing about it is that you cannot, it's just like with independence. Independence means self-determination. So you can't determine what independence means to me when it's about my independence. Right? It's the same thing in terms of establishing a Palestinian state. What is the feeling among Palestinians? All we keep hearing this for the most part from the very ones who create the situation in the first place.
Correct.
Remember Palestine existed before as one say before the establishment of Israel.
Israel, correct.
Yeah, but I think we can't pass that now. What we are looking at right
now. It's
now.
not a matter of gone
past.
No,
but gentlemen, why are we debating this? Ultimately, a decision about the content of such an agreement has to be embraced by the Palestinian people.
Well, I'm not sure about that, John. And I'll tell you why I'm not sure. Let me finish. I'll tell you why I'm not sure.
When you say you're not sure, what do you mean? You are not sure the Palestinian must...
I'm not sure that the voice of the Palestinian people matters right now. Not sure. And I say that because in the West Bank, the Palestinian people vote for Hamas.
No, in Gaza they vote for Hamas. In the West Bank,
no, they vote for Palestinian Authority.
PLO.
Yeah. They are trying to come up with a peace process that
exclude Hamas.
Dependent on a relationship with the Palestinian Authority. So the Palestinian Authority will take the lead in terms of managing Gaza and the West Bank, right? Am I correct so far?
There's much more to it than that.
Yeah.
More to it than that.
Yes, my brother. Yes, but I'm saying this. The Palestinian people voted for Hamas in Gaza. But now the war starts and they just push that to the side.
Again,
in terms of democratic right of the people
But Mike,
No,
Mike,
nobody seems to respect that.
Mike, here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's a whole lot more to this thing that we must understand. It's not a debate, right? There's a whole lot of pieces to this thing which we have very little understanding of, right? There is a matter of land, right? The Palestinian, the land of the Palestinian people. Right now, what you have is you have little pockets of Palestinians on the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, right? You have Palestinians living in Israel,
In
right?
Jordan.
Who don't enjoy in Jordan, who don't enjoy any kind of citizenship, right? The whole thing about the Palestinian issue, right, is one that is way more complicated than just simply talking about who governs them.
And you're right, Patrick. And that is why you mentioned about Yasser Arafat rejecting the two-state solution in his time. And that was what those were some of the reasons why Arafat rejected the two-state solution as it was proposed at the time. It's not that he's against two-state solution in principle.
Absolutely
it's that
correct.
as it was proposed by the Americans and the Israeli and the British people who were on the Israeli side, is that you have a two-state solution. It would not consider the lands that were taken by Israel in 1948. It would not consider return of Palestinians from Jordan, from all these various places where there are refugee camps of Palestinians
Who have been displaced
who
out
have
of,
been who have been
their own land.
displaced. So Israel they need a solution, but they want a solution that wholeheartedly favors Israel and create a Palestinian state where Israel is the major military power and the major administrative power in that region. So Israel would basically still have control over Gaza and the West Bank, even though there's a two-state solution.
Yes.
The problem is now you have a leader in Netanyahu who complicates the issue, because Netanyahu has been under pressure from his own people due to corruption, due to mismanagement of the economy, due to a number of reasons, due to trying to control the judiciary. He's under political pressure. And one of the reasons why he's taking this hard line right now and trying to obliterate the people in Gaza is that he's trying to win favor with the Israeli population, that he is a firm leader and a firm leader against the so-called terrorist Palestinian people who want to get rid of Israel. He's playing a role right now of trying to make a comeback. He hopes the war will turn. You remember before the Palestinian, this current crisis, he was on the verge of one, going to prison, right? And two, being kicked out, right?
And it's still not fully cleared.
It's still not fully clear. That's why you don't want a quick end to the crisis right now. Recently, you remember, he had tried to weaken the power of the judiciary so that some of his cases could be thrown out of court. In about like 3 weeks ago, the Supreme Court overturned whatever little manipulations they were trying in that regard. So he's not out of the woods in terms of his political problems. So this situation in Gaza is his lifeline, right? He's trying to create a situation where the Israeli population see him as the guardian of Israeli interests. So he'll go to whatever extent he can to kill as many Palestinians as possible and end whatever possible political struggle the Palestinian people have of creating a state for themselves. And he's
and don't
yeah,
forget,
Patrick.
don't forget that in Israel right now, it is not a stable situation.
Exactly.
This is
Yeah,
not a
but
stable political situation in Israel.
Well,
Right? Some people think that the unrest only exists in the Palestinian areas, but there's no stability in Israel right
itself.
now.
That's true, Patrick.
Well, I think there's no stability all over the world right now. No, and I listened to the brethren them, and I'm wondering about our prime minister. If he, there's no war, but what tricks will he pull to stay in office? I listen to him like, wow. I wonder if he will just get hyped to the idea and he's willing to do anything to stay in office. Well,
Of course.
time will tell. The election is just around the corner. The local government election is just around the corner. And we see some grumblings on the road. And I think now is a time for us to start revisit our discussion about the manifesto, because the election is coming, and Jamaican people, when they vote, they need to vote with a certain clarity about these guys and these ladies who put themselves forward to represent us. Jamaican need that clarity, and the confusion, a lot of confusion. When you read the newspaper, nobody talk about the issues. You just drop a news and then move on to the next news, but no sustained discussion about the issues affecting Jamaica. So, Mr. Arton, Brother John.
Yeah, man, I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm only seeing the top of your head, my brother. Just the
I'm
shine part.
hearing you clearly. You don't need to see. You don't need to see my head.
Man,
No.
I show off him balling, man. Man, I show off him balling. You want to say the man proud I'm balling.
Yeah, but you see, as a teacher, John, they don't teach us that when you're talking with someone or to someone, you look at them in the eyes. Not that. That's what John we are teaching at school, That's so, John. So
yes, sir. Absolutely
right.
correct.
All right. So,
but we're not face to face. We are on what it name? StreamYard. StreamYard.
All right,
so
my brother.
What you suggesting? Because we don't have a full turnout, we have to make a decision.
That's why I want to get to the discussion about a manifesto, and how we deal with that, because the Jamaican people with them back against the wall, and we need a way out. We need a way out amongst, how are we going to walk between the crooks, the thieves, and not get corrupted by them and their dirty ways? We need a roadmap for that. And John, yeah.
Where really say, Mikey? Where really say a while ago?
One of the challenges we face, as Jamaican people, is how to walk between the crooks and the thieves without becoming corrupt by them, because it's rough, man. I tell you this.
That's a serious thing. That's a serious thing you mentioned right there.
Listen,
it's not something to laugh about.
No, I'm going to share something with you. A friend of mine left London, okay? I went down to visit his house.
In Jamaica?
In Jamaica, in Mandeville. And so this is Wednesday night, as he pull up at this gate, two men just come up and say, keep your head in the car, and just strip him of every damn thing. Of every damn thing. Stick up the brethren, put him on the ground, take away him British pound, in US dollars. I swap that the dollars that them take from is what I passed to him while I was in Europe, you know. And he said, Mike, they've gone every damn thing. You understand? And that man will travel.
Worse than that happened too. Worse than that.
Yeah, him could have lose him life, you know.
Him have him life?
Yeah, him have him life. But I'm saying to you, the situation where the Jamaican people find themselves in right now, we need a way out. You know, we seriously, I say it again. How can we walk between the
Well,
thieves and the crook without
well,
becoming contaminated by them?
well, that's one
Yeah.
of the reasons why we are here, why we commit to being here, is to really work along with the people to come up with some way out of this crisis, right? Because this crisis is not a yesterday crisis, right? It's a
No.
crisis that is deepening, right? It is getting from, well, we like to say from bad to worse, but it's even gone beyond that now, because it's been getting from bad to worse for quite some time, right? So it well past worse stages than we could have imagined, right? So it's getting even more worse than what we did consider worse. All right. So the whole thing about it right now is, as we said, right, is that we have to look more aggressively in terms of how we can really build support, and not just build support in Jamaica, but leverage it internationally too. Bring pressure to bear upon Jamaican government, right, from overseas. Right? Bring pressure to bear upon them, not just from the diaspora, right? But from governments outside of Jamaica as well, who happen to deal with Jamaican government. So the thing about it is that we're not narrowing this thing down to just meeting here and talking each week or anything like that. But it's really about looking at taking more concrete steps, right? To move this thing further, right? We have to pull them back, right? We have to pull back from that brink.
So what we gonna do? John,
Well, yeah,
what we gonna do? What we gonna do?
yes. The question is how to move the manifesto forward.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have to decide. At the beginning of today's session, you spoke about the absence of certain of other members who normally would be here. I think we have to make a decision how to go forward. Now, the last time we met, the first session of the manifesto, we agreed we gave out copies to everybody. Everybody said they wanted to amend the document, whether certain areas of it or the whole of it, and come back. I don't know to what extent those of us who are here, how best to go forward. Do we have a discussion now on the different areas with those of us who are here? Clearly we can't it's not conclusive per se, but if anybody, one way we can proceed, Nita, is to take the comments of Patrick and Lass and yourself and me at this meeting. We have an hour more, or we agree to come next time with a more, if we have had a chance to make the changes for this meeting, we can talk about what changes have been made, and then come next week, we're still going to have to come back on it.
That's why I think we need to table it for next week, right? And work on getting a more full attendance next week for we deal with the discussion. Because remember, it's not just me presenting something, it's all discussing all the different input.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, some of it will be some of what I might want to say. John, you might have that to say. Lass might have that to say. Mikey might have that to say. But there are things that I might say which nobody else has brought up, and then we might have to go into more of a discussion on that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I think that it's best to have that discussion when more people are here.
But can
just have and do a round robin one time. Spend it 2 hours. Do a round robin. Can I make a suggestion? One is an agreement on the areas. We should, when people are making their comments, they should say the areas that were originally recommended. You can modify them or whatever, but we want
that was
to
the
agree.
agreement. That was pretty much the agreement.
Right. And then the content of each section, people may have comments on certain areas more than others.
Right.
I mean, that's almost certain. I wouldn't have much to say on transparency and corruption, but Rattigan may have a lot to say on that. So if we put the meeting to next time, we would have to use up the full time to go through and but what needs to happen in between is that we need to send out, not just saying what the meeting going to deal with, but asking everybody to revisit so that we come, because the longer we take to come to an agreement on the content, is the slower it's going, we're going to be able to promote it. But before we can promote, we have to agree.
Can I interject here? We want to get the Jamaican people involved in this process, right? That's we want to make this document as democratic as possible, with as many inputs as possible, right? I'm correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay. How about if we post the draft that John did on Facebook and invite people to comment on it, and we tell them about that discussion, that we're going to have this discussion, and we open up everything up to participants? Would that be something that could speed up this process?
Well, here's what I think about that, Mike. If we were to do that, it would mean that we'd have to have probably make provisions for more than just a simple 2-hour meeting. Right? That's one. Secondly, the thing about it is that the way we had proposed it before is not in any way shutting out other participants. I mean, it's okay to have the idea where you post it on Facebook and have people, put their response to it and so on, or people calling, right, at a time with a discussion and all of that. But I'm after thinking that when the whole idea was brought up, it was brought up for us to look at it for ourselves, first of all, before we know what we're carrying to the people for a full discussion. So it's not that we are gonna discuss it and then it start there, right? We are just discussing it among ourselves initially, right, to set the stage for a more open discussion, because this is not something that's gonna be completed in a moment, right? This is gonna take several discussions, several in-depth look at it to really come up with a final draft. That's the way I'm picturing it, right? If we want to really do a full discussion.
Yes, can I add something, if I may? I know that Lass don't respond yet, but to be honest with you, Mikey, the way you're suggesting would take longer than the way that what Patrick just said, which is the way I conceive of it. What we want is to put flesh by, let's say, the group before we go and post to the public. So we would put flesh on the different areas: racial rights, the right to work, economic development, constitutional reform, education, whatever the topics that we think should be in the body. And then after we have done that and we are satisfied that we ourselves satisfied that we have passed the first stage or the first step, which is a consensus in the group, then we open it up to both public people who are listening, as well as certain people who you may call quote unquote expert in an area. Like on the left, on the economic development, I have an idea about people. Or on the crime, we don't have a section called crime, but crime is a big issue. We have people who might have more detailed knowledge on an area. Whatever we, then we would open it up both to quote unquote a wider circle to try and come to a consensus on the content. So it's not, as Patrick put it, it's a work in progress constantly. It's not just for it to be to be completed by us and then sent out.
I was just thinking in terms of how to make the go ahead, Les, go ahead.
My view, right? I don't think we can have a full discussion. What I don't want is that we have a discussion and have another discussion discussing the same thing next week and so forth. On the draft that we had before, it's just one thing I want to propose to John, because there was a kind of general agreement about the areas, right? That the last time we discussed it, right? The specifics were, it's a different matter.
Yes.
But I think probably what John needs to do for the next time we meet, instead of having each area sounding kind of philosophical and not concrete, I think what John should do for the next meeting is for each area, each point, is to just give some context to the proposals in the manifesto. For example, take an area that's dealing with corruption. To give it some context, so that it can be concrete to the people who would be viewing it, is to say something like, corruption is a big issue in Jamaica because it is some of the effects that it is having on the country, right? It is causing, less money to go to this, less money to go to that, or watering down whatever development. Therefore, we're proposing X. You understand what I'm saying, John? Just to give each area.
To you. I don't know if
you just give each area a little context, to make it more concrete to whoever is reading the document.
Whoever meaning in our group?
No, not just in our group.
But that's part of what we are supposed to be doing right now.
When the thing is finished, instead of saying, okay, instead of just saying we need constitutional reform or we need reform in criminal justice or anything like that, give it a little context to say why, as an introduction, to say like criminal justice system, where it's not solving the issues of of whatever, why we're making the proposals as a, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but here's the thing, lads. This is what we are supposed to be doing now in preparation, because what John presented was pretty much the general outline,
yes,
right? Based on his ideas and so on, right? And it's for us now to look at these outline and ideas, right, and make our input. So it's in making our input that we're going to frame it the way you're talking about, right? So that's the process that we are supposed to be into right now to be ready ourselves for the discussion.
So the word you use is frame. So I'm saying what John could do for the next meeting is just to frame each idea, put it in context, right?
Area.
Not just present. Say this is what we are proposing. Right?
I don't agree with that so much, Last, because
why?
Because each of us have different competency and knowledge over different areas.
Okay.
I don't want to assume that I am the best man in regard. I know everything. I am very well comfortable on education, but I don't want to assume on racial rights, for example.
Okay.
That I am necessarily putting that into a frame rather than somebody else, like Mikey might know a Rasta or know people who are, who are more versed in that area. The country, okay. We know that this is an issue in the country. The country still have the black man at the top, at the bottom, and the white man at the top. So somebody with that in mind could be the one, whether we ourselves will fix it up as much as we can. It don't mean we have it perfect, even when we discuss it. But the framework, we should be the one doing the framework.
All right, take your point, John. Take your point.
So how we go forward then? So basically is to alert everybody that next meeting come with substance and all the different things. But this document cannot be longer than 2 pages. When all is said and done, it cannot be no manifesto don't run into 10 page and all that. So whatever we're doing is to keep it tight and, highlight the things that you think, if the things that we have here on the subheadings are not things that people would consider critical. We get rid of the ones that are not, and we change them or improve the wording to be more,
But we don't throw away but we don't throw away the footnotes, though.
Which footnotes?
Whatever footnotes when lead to that framing and that concise document, because it's gonna be some serious discussions that is gonna take place around the various issues before you come down to a final draft, as you said, right? Because that final draft, which will be contained in 2 pages, right, when take quite a bit of discussion to condense it down to those 2 pages.
I think we have. I think this group can do that, and we don't need not 10 hours or no long time to do that. It's a question.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
I think we are ideologically more cohesive And if somewhere, if one of the things are not happy, we're not happy with what is there, we just agree that we can, who we're going to ask to help improve it.
No, but what I'm saying is that's not what I was saying though, John. Right?
Oh,
I'm agreeing with you in terms of what you said, but I'm just saying that going forward, when we go forward, right? Part of the thing that we'll be carrying with us is not just what is the written document, but it will be a deeper understanding, which will involve bringing in other stuff, which, you know, that's why I call the footnotes. It don't mean that.
okay, yeah, you everybody, right?
Okay.
The footnote don't
Yeah.
have to go out there,
Right.
but we know where
Right.
the material, we know the source
Right.
of certain information that we
Right.
put
Right.
out there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
all right, I understand.
I hear the brethren them, but I might be. I'm not sure. That's most I can say, because one of the questions we face, and I think this is critical, how do we get the Jamaican people involved in this process? And it is not something that is written or developed or constructed by a group of brethren in the cyber world. You know, how do we make this thing, this become a democratic process or something? Get more
Okay.
people involved.
Well, we spoke to that.
The whole idea. You see, we have been, over the months that we have been here, we've been talking from certain perspectives, right? And it is those perspectives that will be captured in the manifesto.
Okay.
We never come and tell the people, say, these are the perspectives we are speaking from. But what we want to do, we're trying to help the people who we speak to understand the perspectives where we are coming from.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and give them a perspective and examining the society where them live in.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
Absolutely.
when we prepare this document, when we talk, just like how we promote the legal defense fund, we have to make reference to help people to attach themselves to this document and understand this document. We have to try as much as possible the partners that we have in this online business, the other online programs that are allied to us. We can introduce it to some of these guys too, to help them, to let them, show some of the audience members, some of the perspectives where we are coming from. It's not about us, right? It's about us getting the messages out there, just like we are doing now. It's just one tool that we have to help people to zero in on the society where them live in. Them
Okay.
go address corruption. This is the perspective. The manifesto will show the perspective we talk from when we address corruption or when we address crime, and it will help our audience understand better, where we're coming from and why.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll have
So
opportunities, Mikey,
so
to do that.
so we'll also speak to the why of a manifesto in this time.
Exactly.
We will speak to that.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Well, John,
Well said, lads. Well said.
we have to just move on next week. But
Yeah, but what
the,
I'm asking, what
the
I'm really,
document, you said the document was circulated. I'm not sure I received a copy.
yeah,
Yes, you
man,
did.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
No, man,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
man. Yeah,
Mikey,
man.
wait there.
Everybody had the copy when we talk about it.
No, man, it was posted online. It was in the group, but we didn't get
No,
a
John did
copy.
email it to us.
Email it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. If you say that, then
Oh,
there's
go
no
on,
reason.
Mikey. You all right?
Drink too much over the holiday, man.
No, me get a water.
You sure is that?
Yeah, me get a water. So that's good. That's good. The manifesto, because I really think, I don't know how you guys feel, but I
let me
really think that the Jamaican people is at a stage right now where they're looking for leadership.
can I
think,
suggest something to you, Mikey?
yeah, go ahead.
I suggest this is what I do, right? And this is what I suggest that you could have probably copy and do too.
What's
Right?
that?
Is print out the document where John
Yeah,
emailed
man.
you,
Yeah, man. Me gonna do that, man.
right?
Me gonna do that.
And then look at the whole thing and making
Yeah.
notes on each section,
Yeah, me gonna do that.
right? Where you want to bring to the discussion.
Yeah. I my thing, Bridget, my thing, as I say, I just want to start a process. I hope that we start a process that engage the Jamaican people in a way that they learn something from the information that we share with them. They learn something, because in the absence of critical voices, you have a bunch of thieves and fools who capture the state and dominate our people's life. That's basically what's going right now. It's a parasite thing, sort of situation that just a feed upon the Jamaican people. So anything good, I'm all for it. John, anything more you want to talk about?
No. We're going on well over what we need.
All right. Patrick. All right. I don't know, but I want to move to something next. We cover that. You following this incident with this MP brethren and his wife?
Can somebody enlighten me?
Well,
Just in
Yes.
case I'm missing out.
yeah.
A former PNP MP. I soon tell him name. Now.
Silvera.
Sylvester.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
name?
Silvera.
Silvera. Yeah. Charges have been brought against him for the killing of his wife. This occurred back in November last year. So it's something that's in the recent past. It's not a long time thing. Right? At first, it was put out that she died of natural causes. But after further investigation with the police and so on, it was decided that homicide was involved. So charges were brought against him for murder.
She get 3 shots.
Right? Yeah, that she was shot actually.
3 times.
Yeah.
So all that could be how could they not know that's murder?
No, what happened
Well,
is that
I guess there was. My thought is that possibly there was no autopsy done initially, based on the report.
at the time of the incident,
Right.
a lone policeman come and just say, well, she dead, and them take her body off to the morgue.
What?
And the man says she died of natural causes. That's Silvera. But luckily, the policeman kind of saved himself, because him request a autopsy, and is in doing the autopsy that them discover that she had 3 gunshot wounds. But the problem is that she was also looked at by a doctor.
Well, this is interesting you mentioned that last, because the thing about it is we need to understand what is the procedure in Jamaica really when it pertains to death.
At
Right?
home.
Is it that they can put on anything on paper as cause of death? Or does the medical examiner do some
Correct.
examination to determine
The
cause of death,
police,
and
as
then
far as
based
I
on that,
understand it, as far as I understand it, is that when somebody dies at home in Jamaica, the police you have to have a police report. She
yeah, because the
said,
police is the first person you call.
and a medical report to say the person really died of natural causes.
Which would be the medical examiner.
Exactly. That is before the any official post-mortem is done.
That's pretty much the same way it is here too.
But somehow this man get a free ride from the from the initial observations by the police and doctor.
But him is not a medical examiner.
You know, so I don't
And
know.
him is not a police official. Well, the police official really can determine anything.
No, but the police supposed
Right.
to.
No, the police will only take the report.
No, the
Right.
police is there to observe and look at the scene. He's investigating a situation.
Yeah, but
So
but
he's
as
there.
far as the cause of death, as far as determining cause of death, right?
No,
The only thing the police would have to go on there is what he's told,
no,
right? The
no.
medical
I
examiner
don't
would be
think
the
so.
one for determining.
I don't think it's what he's told. Him have to look upon is a potential crime scene.
Correct.
Right? So him have to look and eliminate any possibilities of a crime being committed at the time when him got it. That is why he
I
as a police
understand that.
officer
I
is there.
understand that, but that's not
So
the
he
part
has
that
to
I'm talking about.
he has to eliminate any potential criminal activity when him reach. So in order to do that, he have to look on the state of the body. He is not a doctor, you know, but he have to look on the state of the body, look on the environment and whatever else, and say, well, it not appear that no crime commit here or whatever, right? And the medical examiner now I go do part of the problem, part of the issue in declaring the person died of natural causes or whatever else.
Right, but I understand all of that. Last. But what I'm saying is that's not what I'm speaking to directly. Right? Because what we're looking at now is apparently, right? There was some cause of death put down before. Right?
Yes.
And then they went back to change that.
Yeah, after
right?
them do
which is what brings us to where we are now. Right? Now we don't get no full report on that. But what I'm saying is a police investigation, right, as best as it can be done, right? The farthest it can go is in terms of suspicion, right? In terms of cause of death. But it can't be a determination in the cause of death.
No, he's not a medical doctor.
Exactly. Right? And not just a medical doctor either, because a medical examiner is not just a medical doctor. Right? But he is one who operates under certain circumstances to determine cause of death. Right? It's like there are all kinds of scenarios you can have in terms of cause of death. Right? A person can die last night and you report today, 24 hours later, say, them just dead. Right? And him we have to be able to determine whether it's a recent death, it's a death which occurred the way it is reported, or it's a death that is occurred differently, right? And at a different time and so on. So there's much more to it. It's not just a simple,
there's much more to it, Patrick.
Just a simple example. Yeah, and that's that's the part I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's the part I'm talking about. Right? Because that is really what the ultimate determination.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of which way it went and gone and what have you, this is stink. This is corruption at the highest level. And I'm not sure, but I think it has given the Jamaica Labour Party an opening to argue that, see there,
but here's the thing, Mike. Here's the thing.
No, let me finish.
The amount of deaths in Jamaica, this is not new, you know. Them thing
No,
none of them
no,
new.
no, no. But let me finish. Let me finish. What I'm saying is that going into an election campaign, things like this will have two effect. It has suppressed the votes because people say, listen, I saw the politician them steal.
But,
Or it
but
increase the votes on the other side who can
Okay.
tap into the sentiment.
Yeah, I understand what you're
but
saying.
but Mikey,
You know,
you see what we have been saying all along, because we don't want people believe that this is a partisan platform. We try to push certain things under the carpet because of certain political
no.
persuasions. Because what we have been saying all along, is that the corruption in Jamaica, we have not been
Right.
saying it is a GLP thing. That is only a GLP thing. Corruption in Jamaica not just start with the GLP, right?
No,
It's
I
been
think
these two. It has been these two political parties because of them control of power and them influence over people who have been getting away, right? Who have been getting away with literally everything
but you
corrupt
see,
in this country.
but notice this though. Notice this. What
Yeah, but
about
isn't the
what
man's
what
wife?
what about
Sorry.
Patrick Bailey? Remember Patrick Bailey, the lawyer
Mhm.
for Oldness?
Yes,
Mm.
yes,
He was the only man in that bedroom when they killed the man. And what happened?
yes. What come out of it?
Nothing.
Exactly. So both parties, we seen it over the years, we live with it over the years, where both parties have used them privilege and them power in a society
The,
for,
the,
for
the, po-
corrupt
the,
means.
poli- the political class.
Yes.
The
So it's
political
not
class.
that's why we want people to understand. Say we are not saying that corruption is only attributable to the Jamaica Labour Party. This is a two-party system, and the two party them make use of them power and privilege to act corrupt. Just as though we can run down a number of corrupt events and incidents that the GLP involved with. If somebody we can run down the same amount of
With the
corrupt
PMP.
practices attributable to the PNP.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
So it's not that we want get out one party for the next. We want change the whole way that how things happening in Jamaica, and that's the whole
That's one
basis
of
of
the
this
things that the
platform.
manifesto, the body, the content of the
Exactly,
manifesto must speak to.
exactly,
Exactly
Jack.
that point.
Exactly.
Well, I'm waiting for the manifesto.
Because
What do you mean you're waiting?
I am
You're
waiting.
part of the process.
this this
I'm part. I'm part of the process. Yes, that's true. That's true. I'm part
You're
of the
not
process.
waiting.
Okay.
I mean, every time you hear say some corrupt practice going on in our parish council across Jamaica, 1 week you hear say is a GLP led parish council. The next week you hear say corruption going on in a PNP led parish council. When you hear about it at the constituency level, is the same thing. Because there's a system in the country, right? There's a system of government or a system of governance in the country that allows, right, as Mikey called them, the political class, to get away with so much things. And it no matter whether you belong to the political class on the GLP side or the political class on the PNP side. And we have to always make this point. We are not just here against the GLP. We are here against corruption. We are here against violence. And we are here for a better Jamaica, whether it's a PNP government or a GLP government.
Honestly, I'm against the GLP.
Can I ask a question? It
I'm
was
against the GLP.
Herbert sent me a thing that said PJ is the wife was PJ's daughter.
Yeah.
Anybody?
No, I don't think it's daughter, like
God,
goddaughter or something.
goddaughter, yeah.
It's
And that
goddaughter.
right. He
And
put
what?
some pressure on getting the man arrested.
Whoa.
Is there anybody heard that?
No, I'm hearing
No,
that.
I know about the connection, so it is possible.
Yeah.
It is possible.
I know the Sylvia name is a name we go way back with the
Political
yeah.
system.
St. Mary. St. Mary.
Yeah,
them big in St. Mary.
Yeah, them big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know if PG are involved, then you know some serious stuff this, you know. Some
And
serious stuff.
where it show, because as somebody in the chat say, if this is happening at Kingston 13 or Kingston 12, I mean, we know what would happen, right? And if this person it's like the thing with Philip Palwell, you know, if this person, if his wife was probably from some lower class area, you know, or he was along with some girl from some lower class area and that happened, probably this not would not come of it. Nothing would come of it.
That's the way the system set up.
Yeah, that's how the political system in other countries set up. For the political class, Mikey phrase, you know.
Well, I know this much. Regardless of what happened, this gonna make Golden work twice as hard. You know, because this is going to have an impact on the PNP vote.
So you're worried about that?
Not necessarily. I don't think so.
But if that were to be the case, are you worried about that?
Yes, I'm worried about that. I think
Why would you be worried about that?
Because the PNP is much far better than the GLP any day, any time.
So if they're far better,
you know,
what's wrong with them working harder?
Well,
I don't understand your argument, Lass.
Not that, no me. I know me I say so.
I mean,
no.
The man was say so.
no. What me I say no? What me I say no?
I need to bring up my head sometime. I never bring up my head fast enough.
No, what me I say no? What me I say no is that this incident is going to have an impact on the People's National Party supporters.
And it has to.
It has to. And in order to win, they have to double their efforts.
No.
They have to.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mikey. Here's the thing where you have to understand. Right? And this is to last point directly. Right?
So
the Jamaican people are the employers of the government.
Yeah.
Jamaican people employ the government for work for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? To administer, right, the affairs of the country.
Yeah, me know all of that.
No,
yeah.
what happens is that like the colonialists,
yeah,
right, who basically was the government and only ruled using laws, right, against the people for control, right? We find that even in these times, what is supposedly an independent government rule just like the colonialists, right? And that's where the corruption comes from, right? Because they're not doing the job they were elected to do, right? It is done under the cloak, right, of leadership. The politicians are not leaders, right? Politicians are supposed to be employers and employees, right, of the people of Jamaica.
Well, the reality is that our democracy gave rise to a corrupt class of individuals.
That's not democracy.
Well.
And that's why I said we have to be careful in terms of how we get duped into using certain phrases, which mean nothing.
Okay.
It means nothing. Right?
I know.
That's not what democracy is.
It's not perfect.
One of my concerns is the silence of the women's movement in both political parties, because the issue with Palwell and this issue is an issue where the women should be coming out in the forefront in trying to defend.
And say what? Say what?
Hear me out. In trying to defend the rights of women against things like abuse, and trying to ensure, say, women have certain amount of security and all that kind of stuff. Is that ample
Absolutely
opportunity?
not.
Is an
Absolutely
ample opportunity for these women, for the PNP women, right? You're talking about losing support. This is an area in which they could have garnered some support in coming out and showing, say, they are not being silenced by the privilege of the men inside of the political system.
That's how leadership show up.
Exactly. They're not being silenced by the privilege of the men, the traditional political leaders in the system, right? And the party try to show how the party and the women inside the party struggling for the rights of women. And both parties,
we're talking about is domestic violence.
Exactly, the women in both parties have been
and it's
very,
domestic
very
violence
silent.
against women.
Very,
right?
very
So you're
silent.
absolutely correct, Ross. You're absolutely correct.
Gentlemen, let me say this. There is a process in Jamaica that is happening for some time now, and nobody is paying any attention to it. And the process is one whereby politicians in both political parties are putting their children, the legacy, they're putting their children in certain position. You see it happen with Colonel Charles. You see it happen within the JLP, right? Within the People's National Party, the same thing is happening. D.K. Duncan, he makes sure that he positions his daughters into one area, and his son is in another area. That is what is happening in Jamaica right now, and a lot of activity that we want to see is not going to happen because the people who are placed in these positions, number one, they lack the history. Number two, they lack the skill. Number three, nobody know about them. They just know say right now a D.K. Duncan that, or a Pernell Charles this, or Bruce Colin that, or what have you. And that sort of leadership there can't move the Jamaican people in face of what's happening to us right now. So
you keep talking about the leadership though, and I keep telling you that's not leadership. Don't speak of it as leadership because politicians cannot be leaders. I just said it.
But they have been.
But I'm saying to you, they are not leaders. They're not leaders. Where are they leading us? Tell me. You tell me. You identify the leader and tell me where that leader is leading the people.
So you say, all right, Michael Manley wasn't a leader?
I'm not talking about Michael Manley.
But you make a broad statement.
I'm talking about, no. Listen, understand what I'm saying. Understand what I'm saying, Mikey.
Yeah.
Right? Understand what I'm saying. Politicians, at every election cycle, politicians seek your vote. right? And in seeking your vote, of course, people are of the notion this whole idea of politicians being leaders is a legacy we carry from colonialism. Because we saw colonialists as the leader. The colonialist was the great example. Right? They do it with you with religion, they do it with you with colonialism.
But my question to
Right?
you,
And
are
I'm
you
saying to you, you have to get out of that mindset.
no?
Right? That is the first step in getting out of the mindset and letting go of the legacy. Right? Which only further damage you.
So Michael Manley wasn't a leader.
What is the question you're really asking me?
Michael
When you ask me
Manley.
if Michael Manley was not a leader, what is the
Yeah.
question you're really asking me? After what I just said.
No, that's a question I'm asking.
No, after what I just said.
Yeah, you made a broad statement that politicians can't be, they are not no leaders.
Exactly.
And I'm saying,
and then you pick out Michael Manley and ask me that question. And I'm asking you, right? Why do you ask me that question if you just hear what I said?
Gentlemen, I
just
beg you.
Yeah.
I know that time we have been talking around things that a leader is a leader is a leader.
A leader is a leader is a leader.
Right.
That's right.
It's not there. You may not like this leader, but some people think that them is good leader. Otherwise, I would not have been elected.
I just want to say something about
the point is, John, the point is quite clearly, as I just said, right? If you determine that Michael Manley is your leader, then he is your leader. That's basically what you're saying, John. Right? I'm saying that we carry a legacy that politicians are leaders. Right? And that's part of the reason why we're in the situation we're in, because effectively politicians cannot be leaders. The people are the leaders. We elect them.
In trying to address Mikey's point about the vote issue, I just want to say this to Mikey. Say the PNP have some serious issues we deal with when it comes to women's rights. The PNP, as existing right now, have some very, very serious issues. And Mark Golding have some serious issues we deal with. You remember when Karen Cross come out and raise some issues about Dayton Campbell and and with some underage girls? You remember how that thing go?
Yeah.
The PNP push her out. The leader, the maximum leader, put her under pressure without any investigation, without any hint that, you know what, let us see through this thing and, you know, see where it leads. Without any hint of that, then push her out of the party. Right? That's a women's rights issue where the PNP should have stand up for and try and deal with that issue of pedophilia, which the party should have make a statement and come out and show that they're concerned about it. The issue with Philip Palwell, to date, the PNP has not even raised any questions on the Philip Palwell's issue.
Because
like them have a problem
the
with
level, right? Gentlemen, I don't know, you know. All of these are signs of where things are at in Jamaica.
Exactly.
There's no Me Too movement to speak of in Jamaica. Jamaica would bust up if that movement was strong like in the US.
But the problem, John, is that both parties have women's movement, so-called women's movement attached to them.
Right, but the reality is, that's why we have a section here called Women's Rights.
And
school children on the bus.
I was just
every day the school children on the bus get molested.
Yeah, I was just about to raise
Every
it, Jan.
day. I
If we're
mean, this
discussing
is,
the manifesto
gentlemen,
now.
where we live. We come from Jamaica. We know this go.
Yeah.
It's one of the most backward place when it comes to the reality of respect for women.
And I
I
think
mean,
the Mark Golding,
Even self-respect.
I
Begin with
think the
self-respect.
PNP, I think the PNP at this
Right?
time and Mark Golding, I thought he made a mistake with the Dayton Campbell issue, right? And I think the party need to have a stronger position against these situations arising in the party of abuse of women. Remember how you remember how the PNP came out against this GLP man with a beating wife? I don't know if you remember that. I think it was in Montego Bay.
Can
He
I
was
say
a
something?
he was a counselor, right?
Can I
I
say
think you-
something? Can I say
Yeah.
something? The Karen Cross and Dayton Campbell situation, there's more to it than what you see on the surface.
Regardless,
No. There's more to it than what you see on the surface.
Meaning what?
There's more than
Yeah,
what.
what kind of more that you're talking about?
is more that we can understand.
more.
More that has to remain a secret, or more that needs to be explained, or more that needs to be exposed? What are you really saying?
Put it this way. I know Karen Cross. I know her.
Mm-hmm.
And I know of the situation before it even got to the allegations. There's a whole series of things happen.
Mikey,
You understand me?
before you go any further, Mikey, that is why we talk about transparency. Because people can make insinuations like what you say for silence other people.
That's true.
And create a smoke screen. In order to remove the smoke screen and the possibilities of that, people need to be transparent in what I'm saying. Don't just talk about secret allegations about people where you can't come up front and say, this is why you can't believe Karen Cross.
And when thorough investigation needs to be carried out, thorough investigation must be carried out.
Exactly. So if there is something that to be exposed, do the due diligence and bring that to the fore, bring that to the public, so the public can say, justice was done in the particular situation. And we don't know whether justice was done in that particular situation. But the point we are making, Mikey, when it comes to women's rights, instead of hiding behind legal things and whatever, just put everything on the table and investigate. And then when the investigation done, you can say, we did all the possible investigations. Just in that case, all they said was the police made a report and blah, 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 and it's done.
Well, one thing you have to understand, brethren, is not everything eat good for talk.
No.
Yeah,
But
no, you have to, no, hear me out. The little that we receive in the news, what was published in the news, I'm saying that there's more to it than what was published in the news.
Well,
If you go,
they need to.
if you go into
what's
the space,
what's the name of the person? Patrick, what's the name of the woman?
Karen Cross.
Karen Cross.
Yeah. I know that name.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know the name. I just don't remember I heard about so I just don't remember right now. What it was and all of that. But Mikey,
she used to operate in our space. She used to operate in our space.
Yes.
Malcolm Drive, Mullines Garden, and all of that stuff. It's not somebody that we don't know. We know her. But we also know that in terms of this issue, this particular issue, there's more to it, especially where that allegation came from.
So what is
You
the
know,
more that you're talking about? That's why I keep asking you. What do you mean when you said there's more to
it?
there's more to the story than what we
And
were fed.
which is what?
Which is what?
Well, you see, what happened? What was the outcome of the case?
I don't know. I don't know anything. That's why I'm asking you.
The outcome of the case was that them say, oh, the police gave us a report that cleared Dayton Campbell. We know how police operate in Jamaica. When
The
you're a
matter,
politician,
the,
when you're a
the,
high
mat,
profile person,
the
no
matter
little
went.
constable, going to find you, come tell you, say you know, you did this and did that. We know it go. We can't defend from police report from a little constable.
No. The matter went before the court, right?
Not
You
about.
know that the issue went before the court, and she was asked to pay a sum of money. You know that, right?
Yes, we know all of that.
Okay. So you're saying that the fact that she couldn't provide the evidence, that doesn't matter?
Listen to me, Mikey. It's not everything. It's not everything that can be, is not proven in court is not true. What may I say to you is that if we belong to an organization, if we belong to an organization and somebody bring an allegation about somebody in our organization, at least what we can do is make an attempt, right, to show whoever make the allegation that we are making an attempt to reach some clarity into what happened. And the PNP did not do that.
They didn't do what? They didn't have an internal investigation?
No, they didn't. Nobody
sure?
investigated.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
They said they did.
Well, I'm not
nobody
sure.
investigated.
I don't know, but I don't know what exactly is happening. But
yeah, but you still make a statement. You make a
and
you make a statement.
I'm going to stick to it because
but
there's
you
more
don't
to it.
substantiate the statement you make.
Mikey, remember, you know, this man. You go investigate a situation where you have a man, somebody have some damning thing to say about this man. You have the man in the same position, right? Conducting him daily business, same way. The same position that allowed him to, that the allegations say allowed him to carry out whatever he did. You have the man in the same position,
but
doing the same rounds every day, and you say you're conducting an internal investigation.
Didn't the party issue a news release clearing this man of those charges?
Of course, them issue news release. Anybody can write a news release.
So
that's not what we're asking for. We're not asking for a news release. We're asking for a transparent investigation and against the allegations. You go into the community instead of first ostracizing the person who make the complaint. You can't say you're going to do an investigation if the first thing you do is you ostracize the person who made the complaint.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Not go so. If you serious about an allegation, if Patrick make an allegation against you, and the first thing before we even start investigate, we start find all kind of bad things to say about Patrick. Can you have any confidence in the outcome of that investigation?
I know this much. I know that the allegation were made. There was an investigation by the People's National Party. The matter went before the court also, and the gentleman was cleared. Cleared by the court because she didn't provide the evidence that she was asked to provide and cleared by his party after they conduct their investigation. So
But,
all I can
but
all
here's
all I can say, for me, the matter closed.
yeah, but
Because
here's the thing now, Mike, where you have to be careful of,
what's
right?
that?
You have to be careful of the things you say, particularly when in defense of anything or anybody, because you may be saying it when you're not in a position to really defend them or defend their actions. As Last said, let's spell it out, right? If you try to taint the investigation, right, by attacking the investigator,
But we
right?
don't know that. He don't know that.
No, but he just said that. He just said that.
No,
That's the example he just used. That's the example Last just used.
Lass is not in a position to say that.
No, but Last said that he's in a position to say what he's saying. You're no more in a position to say what you're saying than Last is in a position to say what he's saying.
I don't think
Because the thing about it is, don't, again, remember what we're talking about here, We're talking about wholesale, broad-based corruption in Jamaica. Corruption at all levels. Right? And even John can tell you too. Right? Going back to history and all of that. Corruption even in education. Corruption in all areas. So who are you to say that this is authentic and this isn't?
I don't say that. I say that.
Remember,
No, but
Mikey,
you just
I just want to say something about the current cross case that Michael referred to. Remember that the case was a defamation lawsuit that she lost. It wasn't a lawsuit about. It wasn't the lawsuit never go into the specifics of the criminal conduct of anybody.
When she made those allegations, right? That is what formed the basis of the defamation lawsuit.
Yes.
And she didn't provide any evidence. She
What
made
evidence?
a lot of.
What evidence could she provide in the defamation lawsuit to change the outcome?
Mikey, let me ask you a question. You about case where them intimidate man to the degree where him afraid to come out and testify as to where him know?
I don't think nobody or even Karen will go in for any intimidation. If
I'm asking you, have you ever heard about cases like
but
okay.
Yes, but I'm sure
Hold on. I'm not saying that that's the case here. I'm just saying to you, right? I'm using that as an example, right? I'm saying to you, if we are talking here about wholesale corruption in Jamaica, why are you willing to put your neck out there and drive a stake and say this is as far as it goes? It never go beyond that point. You don't know where corruption takes you.
No, listen now.
Right? And that's the part. That's the whole thing about it. We don't have any confidence in what's happening, particularly when it comes to investigation of crimes and serious situations in Jamaica.
I can say this without fear of contradiction from anyone on the platform. There's more to the story than what Karen Cross presented.
Yeah, but that
no.
That's the point that Lass is making. It's not transparent.
Yeah.
That is part of the problem also. That's part of the problem. But before all of this came out, there was prior conflicts.
And despite that you are being conclusive about the whole thing, saying that the PMP did investigation and the matter has been closed.
Brother man, there's a lot more with Karen Cross experience. You understand me? There's a lot more. There's a lot more. You heard she made allegation against Paul Burke and his wife also, right?
Yeah. We're not saying
Okay.
she's not
And,
irresponsible
and she
sometimes.
made allegation against other people also. And is that just no? That just no, she been acting that this sort of way.
The point I'm making,
In
Mikey,
fact, a lot of people were surprised that the PMP accept her because she was just, she came around with AJ Simpson, Nicholson, AJ Nicholson. That's when she came around, and she,
Yeah, but
know,
Mikey, what you're saying
it,
is really neither here nor there, because anybody can come out and say anything, right? But that's not what an investigation is.
I don't
Right?
know
It's not about a
because
person. It's not
it's
about
easy
a
to
person just
silence.
saying whatever they feel like
Patrick,
saying about another person.
Patrick, it's easy to silence people with a lawsuit.
Yeah,
It is easy.
yeah.
Where I say, create the
uh,
impression
yeah,
that
but
women's rights means something to the party, and when something happens that affect women's rights, the party will diligently
Stand on a principle.
stand on a principle and pursue it and clear the air. That's all we're saying.
we all am in agreement with all of that. But I'm saying also that oftentimes we get information and we run with that information only to realize that there's much more to the story. Much more.
But Mikey, that's why we're saying the investigation. Present a picture of a fair and diligent
Impartial.
investigation.
And I don't know if the PMP did it or not. I don't know.
But you said earlier on that they did.
They did an investigation
And
and they
that's what I'm saying. You cannot be that conclusive about it.
Brother man, we're not making a headway on this topic, So
Yes, and 5 o'clock gone.
Yes, 5 o'clock gone, and I want to thank the people, let me know, because
John, I guess we'd have to discuss piece of the manifesto, right?
But what I want to do right now, I just want to just thank the folks, the listeners, and I see we have a lot of comments in the comment section, and I enjoy it. I hope you all enjoyed the experience, and as we say at this forum, what we try is just try to keep it real and focus on what is important. You understand it? Because when all is said and done, it comes back to one thing. We are standing with the Jamaican people. Whether the party want to be transparent or not, we are standing with the Jamaican people. You understand? And on that note, brother man, like, share, subscribe. Remember, we need that. We need to get the numbers up. So tell your friends, share it on your Facebook page, share it on Twitter, and next week we're going to do a deep dive into the manifesto. Right?
Yes.
So until then, Bridget, walk good, sit good, drive good, and don't do anything I would not do.
Yeah.
All right?
I'm not sure about that last part, but go on same way.
All right. Walk good.
All right, my brother.
Blessings.
Yes, sir. Cool.